Good morning, everybody. Hope you all are having a wonderful Saturday morning. And thanks for tuning in if you're here. Like we do every Saturday morning, or it's becoming more of a thing now. We're on our third Saturday. I'm going to be working on my portfolio and the redesign and everything else that is going to go around with that. So today, what are we going to keep doing? We're going to keep working on how I want to present myself to the world visually and with content, and we're kind of at the end of our to-dos here, I'm noticing, so we might have to add a few more today. So that is all part of the plan. So let's kind of just do like a little recap of everything that we've done so far, just for folks who might be joining us, and then we can look at some of the other stuff we put together. So we've done a whole bunch already. We've kind of considered who my audience is. We've talked about reviewing my existing website. We did some brainstorming about personal labels that I have and how I define myself. We've looked at some of the other portfolios, personal websites out there, and really we've spent a lot of time on these sort of last three, kind of thinking about what I want to communicate about myself to my audience in the world, what is my unique value proposition, and then how I'm going to present all of this information. And this is like the really important stuff with any portfolio. I think a lot of folks like to skip over this part or forget about it and just jump straight into the visual design or the code or anything like that. But really coming up with your content and your narrative and the structure that surrounds that, that's the important stuff. And so we spent a lot of time the last couple of weeks working on that. But today, hopefully we can start wrapping this up a little bit and start moving maybe into wireframing and more of the visual design of how this is going to look, which I think is pretty interesting. And so that'll be pretty fun for everyone. So let's take a look at more of a recap of what we did. So each of these kind of have their own titles. Who's my audience? All the good stuff we've been talking about. We did a little review of my site. I came up with some personal labels that I kind of want to talk about. In the site, we've looked at some inspirational portfolios. We started working on the site content a little bit. We did spend a lot of time last time on this unique value proposition and all the information there. Kind of coming up with these last two bits in bold here as kind of the things that I want to say in my summary here. I've been thinking about this all throughout the week, so we'll probably address this here a little bit more. And then we kind of also came up with a little bit of an information architecture, more info on the landing page versus my current site. I've kind of got things spread out amongst different pages, so I want to bring more content to the landing page. And so we've got that sort of mapped out here a little bit more in detail. And then we're talking about the blog and the about section. And this could change as we experiment through the wireframing. We might. Oh, thank you, Urban Junkie, for the follow. This could definitely change, but it's still a work in progress, and we'll figure it out as we go. Nothing's ever set in stone. Nothing's sacred, right? I think a lot of people like to set themselves on the tracks and start moving forward and kind of feel like this is the way forward. But things can change and we can experiment. That's what all the fun is about. So great. So this is kind of what we've talked about. And I do want to review this unique value proposition a little bit more. I haven't looked at it really, but I've been thinking about it since we last worked on it. So make sure we're still on the same page here. So UX designer, full stack developer, and teacher. I build digital products, teach folks how to design and code, and love it. I stream on Twitch, share thoughts on Twitter, and write for my blog. Let's get in touch. Yeah, and I think that's still really relevant. And sort of the short version of that is I build digital products, teach folks how to design and code, and love it. It's kind of that middle sentence there. Awesome. I still like that. I still think that works for me. So let's keep on keeping on here. And so normally, okay, so before I jump into that, and we kind of have this information architecture done. So I'm actually going to move this over to done. I've kind of got a good idea of how, less on the visual side, but I think that needs its own sort of card here. So I'm going to move this over to done. So now we're going to start getting into like design. And that's what I want to frame all these with. So we're going to call this like, what's a good term here? Sort of, I guess I'm calling them wireframe experiments here. And this is something that I like to do as a general rule of thumb. It's just play around with a bunch of different layouts and structures and different ways to present the information. I normally do this on pencil and paper, or normally, but I think for this we'll just do it in Sketch so it's a little easier for everybody to see. But this helps me kind of explore different ideas. And maybe it's like, okay, this one, I like one piece from this, and I like one piece from that. And kind of just play with it and get a feel for how the information can sort of come together and work together. So that's I think what we're going to work on a little bit more today. And then after that, some more design. And we'll kind of call this like solidify wireframe direction. I don't know why these are all uppercase because the other ones are not. Place wire. Oop, forgot about that. Wireframe Experiments. Oh, that should be caps, but this one will be lowercase. Sorry, I just have to keep it consistent. Otherwise, I'm going to go a little crazy here. So that's kind of solidify the wireframe direction, and after that, we'll start getting into some higher fidelity. So I'll go and throw that in here. Fidelity experiments. Cool. And this is kind of a typical sort of product design cycle here. We did a lot of discovery and sort of definition. We didn't do that much discovery, honestly. In a true product design cycle, we interview users and talk to people. I kind of had a chance to talk with people in the chat a few times, so I feel like we've did an okay enough amount of discovery for a project like this. Probably not the most we could have done, but definitely enough. And we kind of worked on some of more of the definitional documents. So now we're kind of moving into like the ideation phase of this. So great. So let's bring over Wireframe Experiments. Cool. And let me fire up Sketch because that's what we're going to be doing these in. We should probably install the update just so it doesn't blow up on us. Alrighty. Great. And always save your work. That's not what I want. Let me move this up here for a second and just save it. And we're going to call this Pushing Pixels. Yeah, this is the time. We're going to start getting into the design side of things. What am I going to call this? We're going to just call this Wireframe Experiments. Okay, that's saved nicely. Cool. And we're going to grab an artboard. I like working on this HD one, but sometimes that kind of bites me. So we're going to, just because it's like so wide and it's like we fill up all the space and then just starts looking kind of weird. And then we've got our desktop view. All right, so we're going to start with like the landing page ideas. Landing page 1. And I'm actually going to come over here and do a little text. And this is all Helvetica. That's fine for what we're trying to do. Right here, I'm going to make this larger though. And what I'm going to do is actually copy my information architecture ideas over here. My site hierarchy. Just so it's a little more contextual, so I'm not bouncing back and forth. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, that's fine. Let me try and... That's more or less everything grouped, right? Oh, that latest content, it's got like double groups. All right. This is not ideal, but at least it kind of helps. And I'll just kind of make this demarcation so I can kind of think that it's all together. Okay, cool. So, and this is kind of a good practice. I don't know. I think it's a practice for myself, bringing over the content like this, just because then you have it all contextualized. You don't need to bounce around between different documents. It's all kind of there for you. And you kind of have everything just a little bit more organized for yourself. So this is something I'll frequently do. All right, so I guess the first thing we're going to start doing is talking about the navigation. And let's change this over back to black. I have some colors predefined here. They're actually from Tailwind CSS. I use that a lot as my default CSS framework of choice. I highly recommend it. It's pretty awesome. So I just kind of have their colors there for myself. Okay, so we're gonna just have my name in the upper left to start, because I want people to know whose site are they looking at. I frequently use my initials like NB as my brand mark, so I might roll with that. I might make it a little bit more stylized, but you know, something to consider. And then, what do I want my information, top level navigation to start looking like? So what do we have here? We've got portfolios, careers. And I'm actually going to go look at some of these other sites that we looked at just to kind of get another feel for what they're saying. So Patrick doesn't have he's got like embedded links as his navigation, which is an interesting approach. Derek I know he has the about in his podcast, and then he just kind of got a blog on the front there, which is an interesting approach. Charlie, I don't think has navigation until you scroll, maybe. No, he doesn't have any navigation, which is a bold move, right? Interesting way to approach this. And then Justine, I think she might. Oh, I always link to her. Yeah. Oh, so no one's got navigation, which I think is really interesting, right? They've all kind of got more content here, so maybe we don't need to think about navigation that much. Who else do we look at? So this site, that's right. This site doesn't really have navigation, so maybe I'm overthinking things when I'm thinking about this navigation section. They don't even have the logo in the upper left. So this is why we do some inspirational research, right? Question, do you record your streams to then post them on YouTube? That's genius. Yeah, I do that. So everything goes on YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel under my name, so you should be able to find them. And if you look on Twitch, if you scroll down a little bit into like my about section, there are links there that go over to what my archive essentially. So yeah, because Twitch deletes them after 14 days or whatever. I'm not an affiliate yet or anything like that. So that's how they roll. So interesting. So people are not really focusing so much on the navigation necessarily, which I think is an interesting idea here. So let's play with that. I'm gonna have one that does have navigation and one that doesn't, because again, we're experimenting here. We're playing with ideas. So I'm gonna throw that one over there. I'm just gonna call it 2 for now. Like sometimes I label these a little bit more descriptively, and that one would be like no nav, this one would be nav, but we haven't really gotten too many iterations of this yet. So if I was going to have a nav, though, I would probably have my about page, and then I'm worrying too much about the spacing right now. Blog is going to be important for me. I'm going to call it projects here. I'm actually going to put about over here. Blog, projects. Yeah, I think like I could... Another thing to consider is like putting work up here, or like career, and I think that is how it is on my current site. So let's look at what we're working with here. I just got career, portfolio, and blog. I don't even have about, which is an interesting choice, right? So we'll call it projects, because I think that's a little bit more action oriented. Like portfolio is a nice term, but kind of the whole site's a portfolio, so I don't want to really hit that nail on the head too hard. But let's call this blog, let's call this projects, and about, we'll leave it. Well, why not? We can make another iteration. Okay, let's make this a full iteration. I'm just going to put, oh, that's not the right button. And I'm going to put work. Yeah, work, career. Let's say career. See, terminology is really hard. I think it's one of the parts I spend more time on, because content matters, right? If you had a website that was only content, somebody could use it. It's usable. But if you had a website that had no content on it, that's not usable at all. And that's probably a little too small. Okay, there we go, 21. That makes sense. I don't have a text hierarchy in mind. I'm just kind of making stuff up. I'm going to polish that later. I don't really care right now, because this is just a mock-up. And I'm sorry, not even a mock-up. It's just a wireframe. All the visual polish that's going to come will happen later, because this is all this needs to be right now. Although I am going to try and get like the visual hierarchy and text, not the text hierarchy so much, but the visual hierarchy set up a little bit more about how I would expect it to be. Just because like with a wireframe, I think spacing is so important, making sure that everything is working together. And I'm actually going to make that like 50. Okay, so that's something with a navigation. And then this one won't have any navigation. We'll just jump straight into the hero section. It's interesting. So the reason I go a little back and forth on like, I think it'd be important to have a navigation is because I know people come to my website to look at my blog content. So again, keeping your audience in mind. And so for them, it could be annoying if they have to like scroll the page to get to the blog versus having a link up top and then being able to click it and go straight to the blog. And that's my internal dilemma with it. And so just because I do have so much blog content and people come to my site to consume it. So that's kind of why I lean towards having a navigation as opposed to not having one. But you know, let's experiment here. That's what this is all about here. And I want to grab that UVP that we were discussing. Where'd it go? All right, let's grab both of these. Oh, you're not going to play nice. There we go. 400. Okay, we'll make it white. Awesome. So, you know, just bringing the content in here. We can play with it. Okay, let's see here. I'm actually going to make this NB. Just for now. And then what if we come in here with Helvetica, okay, 60, something bigger. Seal. Let's grab this guy. Oh, did I not have it selected? Sometimes Sketch gets me like that. That's all right. We'll make it a little smaller, we'll make it 400 just so I can play with it. Cool. Cool. Let's see here. And we'll make this a little bigger. And I know that's not the appropriate amount of, it's too wide for the number of characters, so we're gonna have to bring that maybe back over here, maybe make it 25. It's a lot of text. Maybe it's just a text hierarchy, maybe it's the font, but that just feels like a lot of text to me. But anyway, let's make this a little bit more realistic. There it went. So we'll do the underline here. We'll do an underline here. We'll say the blog is there. And I think this was the last link we had as well. And it probably is the line height that's throwing me off, so I'm going to actually bump this up. Maybe at 34. And let's make this bold. I said I wasn't going to do the text hierarchy, but here I am playing with it. Just to get a feel. Cool. So this is kind of coming together. This could be it. I'm wondering if that's just like too much text. I don't know. This could be lower on the page, and maybe maybe this statement needs to be a little bit different. But anyway, that's just an idea. And then for this page, it would just be this content, right? So it would be, maybe center align it here. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh. There we go. Maybe it's starting to look more like that. And what if we had a background on it, just to denote that this is the hero section? Just playing with how things look. Okay. Get rid of the borders. I don't know. That kind of is nice. I feel like there needs to be more of a call to action. But I don't know. How did our friends do it? Who we keep referring to here. Justine has that kind of scroll. Has a photo. That's kind of interesting. Launch website. That's kind of a call to action. Charlie doesn't really have. I mean, he's got this. Demo Derek kind of has it differently. Patrick. There are other sites too. So it's kind of, I don't know, you take your inspiration from wherever you find it, right? If you advise someone to choose between Tailwind and Vuetify, what would you suggest? So Tailwind and Vuetify are two very different things. Vuetify, to my understanding, is more of a component library that has a lot of Vue integrations. And then Tailwind is more of a agnostic CSS utility framework that you can use to create your own designs. I think Vuetify is great. I think a lot of folks have built really awesome things with it. I lean towards Tailwind just because I feel like I'm more of a designer sometimes than your average front-end dev, and so I like to create my own. I like creating my own styles as opposed to theming components, which is like the Bootstrap component library mentality. So I lean towards Tailwind. If you want to go with your own designs, I would lean towards Tailwind. If you just want to have components that are really easy to use and set up, Vuetify I think is a great way to go. Have you decided on what tech you're going to use for the new portfolio? Yeah, I'm going to use the tech I know. So I'm going to probably build it in Laravel. Build it with, I do some Laravel Nova. I'm still back and forth on that. I'm really interested in playing with like a static site builder, just because I don't know if I need to host this on like a Forge instance or something like that. Not a Forge instance, like I'm wondering if I can cut my hosting costs essentially by doing more of a static site build than a truly like PHP hosted solution kind of thing. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. But definitely Laravel will be involved in here one way or another. Vue.js will probably, if we're doing some more JavaScript-y things for sure. Probably going to use Tailwind to style it. I'm just going to use what I know. And if I want to experiment with something, I'm just going to go for that. And if not, I'm going to use what I'm comfortable with. So that's generally the tech stack that I'm leaning towards. This site is built on Laravel and Vue and that same tech stack. So that's where I'm thinking. I might use MySQL, though, for the databases. But I think this is on Postgres. But I'll probably just use MySQL. So anyway, we're talking about having calls to actions here. I'm wondering if we make this centered as well. And these are the things here. You're like, maybe this will look better here. I think centering this does help. I think when it was left aligned, it was just too much. And this is a little bit taller because this is a little taller. It's interesting, right? So actually, I'm gonna go take the. All right, we're gonna make a new version here. We're just playing with ideas. Just gonna put that over there. Does that background change color? Or maybe it's just an optical illusion. Possibly. Because one thing I did want to play with was kind of like, I don't know where it went. I have to look at my dribble. I saw something the other day that I really liked. On dribble, where did it go? Let's see here. I need to update this. Where did I like it? I thought I did. It had this really cool like bubble graphic. Maybe it's under landing pages. And I was thinking that would be kind of a cool image to roll with for my blog. Or not my blog, sorry, my portfolio here. But I'm trying to see where it went. I don't think it was the Balkan Brothers. These guys are amazing. I don't know. I think they're based out of... the Balkans, imaginally. Croatia, that's what I thought it was. They do such good work. I love watching whatever they come up with. So big shout out to them. They do really good dashboards. So sometimes dashboard design is really just like tedious and you don't really know what you're looking at, and they always do such a nice job. So I'm really impressed. So something like this is what I was kind of looking for. Where you kind of have this, and it's pretty modern, like kind of a scooped out part of your page there with like an image behind it. I don't know, something like that would be really cool. There's one though, it was like a scuba dive picture. I don't know how I found it or where it was, but I was thinking that would be sort of cool to play with here. Oh well, I can find it later. Just gonna make sure I didn't go past it or anything. anyone saw it and knows what I'm talking about, with that very, like, kind of, yeah, something like this, where it's just kind of a cool background, like that. It's just something that I want to experiment with. So let me see here. So to do that, how would that look? I'd probably start with like a circle. Using some simple shapes to make some more complex shapes. And maybe, I don't know, something like this. Oop, that's not what I wanted. We'll make a union there, so now I can play with the curves. Oh, this is not going to cooperate with me the way I wanted it to, which is fine. Okay, we'll start with a rectangle then. Just kind of get the right shape, kind of where I was thinking. Cool. Now we use the pen tool, and we're going to make it like this. So like a curve like that. Maybe another curve. I don't know, just kind of playing with it. I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's just an idea. And we'll swoop that one around. That looks like it comes in too far. Yeah, that looks kind of what I'm going for. And so that would kind of just be in the background, is kind of just like visual, something visually interesting. It's something I think is visually interesting. Let me make this a little bigger so it frames it a little better. And get rid of the border. And there'll probably be some color contrast stuff. Maybe we make this a little smaller, which I'm not opposed to. Kind of am. But so something like that I think would be kind of interesting. Just add a little bit more flair to the overall design. Make it look a little bit more modern. Because I kind of, my old one, it's funny, it's a product of its time, right? So it had this like just slant on it, which, you know, was cool in that moment a couple of years ago. Now we're going to more of these curved shapes and kind of cool graphics that way. So something like that I think would be kind of interesting. I'm actually liking a lot how this looks a lot. So this might be more the direction we go. How hard will that kind of shape be to develop in the browser? You know, I have no idea. I'll figure it out. I imagine we can do it with SVGs. So this, honestly, on my portfolio was just an SVG that I played with. So, you know, there's probably tons of ways to do it. You could do it with CSS these days, I'd imagine. But an SVG or something like that, and then making sure it's mobile optimized correctly will be the tough part. But, you know, that's part of the job. That's why we're here. And that's kind of what I'm going for here. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So when in the design phase, when I'm really doing ideation, this brings up a good point. I don't really think about if this is feasible in code just yet. I kind of of the school that, like, if you just put your mind to it, you can figure out a way to make it work. And so when I'm designing, I kind of just like to let my brain run wild and really just kind of come up with whatever design I think will work, and then kind of go from there. So I like this. It's if we zoom out kind of here, so these ones are pretty simple, which is cool. I think simplicity is great. Whereas this one has, like, I don't know, there's just something more visually interesting to it. I wonder what it would look like without this text here, actually, the navigation. So let's take a look at that. But so I'm liking this direction here, and this is why I like to experiment, right? Like, you might start with something like this, and then you're like, okay, maybe something over here. And now all of a sudden it's like, all right, what if we do a little bit of, I like this direction, but I'm going to take bits and pieces of the last two things I worked on. And on paper, this goes so much faster, and you can kind of really get a feeling for like how this is going to work for you. But for right now, this is working great. We're, again, kind of experimenting, coming up with different ideas here, different feelings. Maybe we've got to play with this shape a little more. Maybe we'll bring that around like that. I don't know. I'm not the best user of the pen tool. It's really hard, but at least that kind of makes everything fit a little more. I don't know. I kind of like that curve more. But, you know, you play with it, you learn. Maybe we bring this up a little bit more. Yeah, I kind of like where that's at. So I don't know. I think something like that would be kind of interesting for our hero section. I kind of like it without the navigation. The UX designer in me says that's a user test. That's an A/B test waiting to happen. So that'll be interesting. I might actually show this to a couple of different people and see if they can complete the task. So do some usability tests. But let's kind of roll with this right now. It's a little bit simpler. So let's roll with the simplicity for now. And I like where this is heading here. So what do we have next? We've got some latest content. Oh, okay. We've got portfolio content. Sorry, I misspoke. We've got the portfolio. We've got the careers content. We've got more of my project, not project content, but my media content, right? Which is this Twitch, which is the YouTube, the blog, Twitter. Interesting. So let me go pop over to our friends here. I just want to see what order they're presenting the information in. So she starts with her projects, which I think is great. And then a little bit more. Oh, this is kind of an interesting way to present your actual experience here. Where does this link to? Oh, it links to there. To the company? That's kind of cool. Those are cool companies. Like an agency. And then she gets into the rest of her information, which is pretty dope. Charlie, how does he do it? He starts with his projects as well and then gets into the rest of his stuff. Derek starts with his writing. Doesn't really, it's probably not a great portfolio to look at because Derek has been he was one of the founders of Drip. So he's already made it. He doesn't need to say this is where what I've done. Patrick, going that simple route, start talking about his work experience, and then some of the other stuff. So okay, so it looks like though, and what about Robbie? Robbie has some really cool. He starts with his resume, and then he starts with his portfolio, and then design portfolio. Oh, his illustration design. That's cool. Pretty cool. Oh, he's got a portfolio. He's got a tutorial on this. What? Look at all that. Ooh, I'd have to really sit down and think about this. Gosh, that's cool. Anyway, so if you want to see how Robbie, we kind of talked about this a few streams ago, but he's got this like awesome site that just is tons of fun stuff here. So it looks like he's got his tutorial for that if you want to go figure it out how to do that for yourself, which is pretty cool. Yeah, this site is nuts. I really like it for interaction design. Anything in this? I often will just type landing pages into Dribbble and just kind of see what people are coming up with these days, because there's just so many cool ideas like that. That's a cool idea with a waterfall there. This feels a little older, but it's still pretty awesome. I feel like the horizontal line thing has become a little bit dated, but it's still pretty awesome. In favor of this more like kind of curve thing going on. I don't know, that's just a trend I'm noticing. Those are pretty dope. I like it's a cool way to frame sort of that imagery. Maybe that's an idea. I like that actually. That's an idea we can use a little bit later on the page. Maybe instead of having like my portfolio like screenshot headers, they could be like in those bubbles kind of thing. I don't know. See, this is why you got to look at what's out there, because it's just inspiration. It leads to other ideas. And I'm not like stealing. I'm not like saying like I'm going to just copy that and that's going to be my website. It's like, how do I apply this in my own context? And that's when you remix, and that's when you come up with cool ideas that work for you. This is all pretty awesome stuff. Dribble's great. So this is my problem. I could spend like 10 hours on Dribbble and not get any work done. Let's see. This is kind of what we're going for over here. These look like almost like PowerPoint slides. But yeah, just kind of swoops and stuff. Dope. All right, let's keep on keeping on. So looks like people put their projects first. I wonder if that's what I want to highlight. So there, like if you have really strong projects, that's I think a good way to go. I, through my own sort of inability to take screenshots and stuff and think about things in the moment, don't have a ton of great case studies. And that's something I'm working on for this. And I need to think about that a little bit more. So maybe it would make more sense to talk about my latest content. And that's something I'm doing on my current site. I kind of have this my expertise section. I don't think I need this anymore. I'm going to get rid of it. But then I go into like content, which is my latest thoughts, and then sort of more about me information. But I'm going to save some of this. So getting rid of this guy. So let's keep on keeping on. So we've got this. I don't know. Now I'm going back and forth between having. I wonder if we hide that and then on scroll it like appears. That would be kind of interesting. And then just have this as a way to anchor people if they need it. I don't know. Thoughts? Maybe we put that on the left-hand side. These are the things. Just you gotta experiment. On paper, I would be experimenting more, but here, I don't want to have like 50,000 artboards at the end of this. But I like where we're heading with this. Okay, so what do I keep mumbling about? I need to make a decision, and sometimes, like my hero Bob Ross would say, you just gotta pick something and go for it, and put a little tree somewhere. So let's start playing with content and see how we go with that. So what do we have? We've got blog content. So I'm gonna grab that header. That's gonna take not long enough. And so we've kind of got this thing going on here where the design is text on the left and imagery on the right. And then I don't know if I want to bring this down to center here or how we're going to do this here. So let me just play with some ideas here. We're going to make that 40. We're going to try aligning it like that. I'm wondering if I call it latest blogs, or I was curious. So he just has side projects, writing. Oh, writing's kind of a nice label. Case studies. I wrote stories and lessons. That's kind of a nice way to center it back on you. Let's call it writing. Let's run with that. Let's see where we go. I'm going to make this a little more taller so I can play with this as much as I need to. So we've got writing. I'm wondering, so I really like in my portfolio how I was able to come up with like this sort of setup here, where it's like two different types of content bundled together. And I'm wondering if I could do something like that with this. So maybe make it more like, let's keep it the same, latest thoughts. See if we can play with that a little bit more. And then, so I've got blog content. I'm gonna have to bring this over. Don't have to keep scrolling back. Cool. You can duplicate in Sketch, so just feel free, duplicate away. Put it wherever you need it. So we got latest thoughts. And we've got, I don't know if, so when I was writing, thoughts made a lot of sense, but I don't know if that makes as much sense these days. And notice how I'm spending a lot of time thinking about the content, and that's what you're really trying to do in the wireframe here. You're really trying to nail down the content, how it feels and what it flows like, and then like how it is all organized together here. Like high fidelity, when we get into mockups, it's kind of like, okay, we're going to polish this, we're going to make it look a lot more visually interesting, but this is really thinking more about like, okay, how do we put all this together into something that is going to be like consumable and really organized. And so this is the time. Spend time thinking about your content, because if you just brush over it and kind of just like throw everything together, it might not come together the way you expect or anticipating here. So, and words matter, and that's something I think that we forget about a lot. So spend the time, think about how you want to pitch all this information here. So, I just had a thought. Okay, so blog and Twitter kind of goes together, and then Twitch and YouTube kind of go together. So what if we did something like this? Now we're getting crazy now. That's going to be a full square. Yeah, whatever. Oh, I guess I got to hold shift. Right? Okay. So what do we do something like this? Is that, what is that aligning to? What's that? 10, 24 divided by 2. Not, yeah, 512, not 24. I should have that memorized. I've got the artboard memorized, but not the differences. Cool. Cool. All right, so let's grab you. Bear with me here. I'm tracking down an idea. And then this one can be more of this lighter, not that dark, but I don't know, something like that. And so this could be like Twitch. I don't know, playing around here. But we could do like a light theme, dark theme kind of thing. Twitch streams. And then this could be, we'll flip, like kind of flip the color scheme. Ooh. YouTube videos. I don't know. Let's center align that so it's just a little. Alrighty. Something like that, maybe. And then we talked about kind of making this more of a blob kind of thing. These boxes I don't think I would necessarily have in the interface. They're just more to organize this information here. And then maybe put some I don't know if we'd have some text in here or not, or what that would look like. So let's make this regular. We'll bring this, how big are you? 25, cool, let's roll with that. See if that works. That feels so small. I don't know. I don't even know what I would say here. Because I was thinking maybe making this more like a call to action to go look at the stream as opposed to having the Twitch content here. And maybe that's, maybe I need to be thinking about this slightly differently. So maybe if I do something like this, I don't know. That was a fun idea. I'm not gonna get rid of it. It's so easy to delete things sometimes that it's easy to be like, oh, it's gone, and then you like, oh, what was that idea again? So I'll try and save things from time to time. Oh, that's locked. What if we make that like this? This will come after latest thoughts. What do we call this, like learning live or something like that? That's kind of what I do in my streams. I teach, maybe it's teaching live, but I like learning live, good alliteration, something like that. Maybe Twitch streams makes more sense. I don't know. We're playing with ideas here. But make this more of like a call to action block. And we'll make this more like, we'll say 28, 32. That works a little better. Live stream. No live stream. Educational. I don't know. What do I stream, guys? Tell me. See, this is why you got to think about the content first. I don't know. I live stream. We can come back to this a little bit later. Warm up some whatever. Just trying to get an idea of the structure of the page here. So if that is like there, I'll group that for a second. And then I can do latest thoughts. The stream breaking? Oh, what's wrong with it? Is it like video jumping around or something? Looks good on my end. I'm not seeing any dips in the stream health or anything, so hopefully that's gets resolved for you soon here. Okay, so latest thoughts. What are we talking about here? So I kind of have the blog thing on the left-hand side, and then the tweets on the right. When I think of thoughts, I think of like those thought bubbles. And we're kind of playing with this bubble idea here. So I'm wondering if there's a way to incorporate that as well. Maybe we could do something like this. Forget how to do this. Transform, that's what I'm looking for. Flip vertical. Yeah, and we'll flip this horizontal as well. Maybe put this like over here. I don't know if it's this exact shape or not, but yeah, it looks a little silly, but we can put it there. I don't know. What does that start looking like? I don't love it. Kind of. There's an idea there, though. I would like to incorporate more of those throughout the page somehow. So we got these latest thoughts. Move that down a little bit more. Okay, so let's just say, let's use real content because that is always better. So let me go to a website. Ooh, that's tight. There's a way to get rid of. Nope, that's not what I wanted. All right. We'll just type it out and then go from there. So let's make this black. Always use real content when possible, because then you figure out if it will fit, if it will work. CRM. And we'll go from there. And you know what? Honestly, I should be copying and pasting this. Cool. Now we have a learn more button. And that looks like a Font Awesome icon, which they're great. I love Font Awesome. So that's one blog post. Again, we're just worrying about structure right now. We don't really care that it doesn't look perfect. We'll come back to that. Oh, that's annoying. No. Cool. And then one more. Getting started with Laravel Nova. I'm a little biased. I thought these were interesting posts, and people seem to like them too. So go ahead and give them a read if you're interested in Laravel Nova. For those of you who don't know what Laravel Nova is, it is kind of like a admin dashboard for any Laravel project that comes out of the box and is super awesome and easy to set up and work with. And it's built by the Laravel core team, so it's pretty nice to work with here. Okay, cool. So this is kind of the content we're working with. Important to work with the content. And let's make this smaller. Let's make that 28. And then we'll make this more bold. I don't know if bold's right. Oh, let's try making this 21. Feels really small to me, but that could just be me. And then we'll make this, let's try with 500 and see how that goes for us. Yeah, and then we'll make the line height a little better. Thank you, Harry ZXC, for the follow. Appreciate it. I don't know why it took me so long to read that. Cool. Let's play with that for a second. And then the learn more button. Let's make this like the same size as that for now. I don't know. Maybe like a 25. Who knows? We're just playing around a little bit. And let's bring that a little closer. Too far. All right, something like that. It'll work for the moment. Okay, cool. So what is that? That's 28. All right. I guess I could do this for more than one thing at a time. Speed it up. 28. What do we call this? 21 and then 28 line height. Cool. I think we made it 400, 500. Keep doing that. Nice. And then this was just 25. So consistency, I know I said I wasn't going to worry about the text hierarchy, and that's true. I'm kind of just using things that are relative to each other as opposed to on a specific hierarchy. And that's fine, but you do want to make sure when you're designing that each of like your specific elements are consistent to each other, because that's what makes the design kind of come together. So 10. Otherwise, it wouldn't be designed. It would just be things thrown on a page. Let's try the right thing. Cool. And what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I think we were doing 10. A lot of numbers going around here. And I think, oh, make sure that's the right bounding box on it. Alrighty, so these are starting to look like blog posts. And finally, make sure we're spaced evenly. Cool. It's kind of consistency that matters. And that's, I feel like we can make that even bigger. A little more white space there, a little more separation. Cool. Those are sort of our latest thoughts in terms of blog posts. And I've got this Twitter account and stuff. And I'm wondering if I want to replicate this or not. What do you guys think? Anything? Does this work for you? Could this use some work? I'm a little torn. I think it's a cool section though. So what if we just redesigned it? I do want to have that over here because it's what's going to guide the user down the page. So I want that there. And these feel a lot bigger than they were on the other page, and that's fine. We'll just tweak this a little bit. Make that 25. Make that 18. That's cool. We'll make the width like 400, 350, not 250, but 350 I think would be enough. Cool. And then let's play with the spacing. 1, 2, 3. This is design here. You're just kind of playing and everything. I think the content on the left combined with the 3 squares center is a bit awkward to read on that section. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. It's a little avant-garde probably for your average person here. That's a good point to think about. Ooh, that's the wrong way. There we go. All right. So how did, they're just kind of using lists, but I think that makes sense. And then a link to view more. I like that it's links. This is a 2-column layout, but I think that works. Writing, these don't even, that's interesting. They assume people know how to click. I don't know if I make that assumption. But I do like these little images, because on my site, on my blog, I do have thumbnails, although they're kind of huge. I don't know if I can make them squares. All right, let's try it. Oh, you know what we can do? This will be cool. All right, we'll get rid of these. Throw a circle down there. Get rid of the border. We'll kind of make them more into blobs. Oh, that's not what I wanted. And then, I don't know. This doesn't look great, but something like that to go with everything that's going on over there. Just to make them a little bit more visually interesting. And this will be kind of a pain to work with because it's not perfectly square or anything like that. And then we'll make this back to kind of length like that, and maybe we'll make this bold. I think Helvetica is throwing me off, but maybe something like that. And let's change this to writing. Something like this, I think, would work. And this is actually really big, so I'm gonna. That's annoying. Let's try making this like 80. 90? There we go. Let's try playing with that. Let's make this 92 and see what happens. Works for me. Why is that happening? You should not be real. Oh, maybe it just has to be that way. It's weird because they're not bound to each other. It's not locked. Oh, the width is what I need to be consistent, so don't care so much about the visual, the vertical spacing. Okay, so 34, something like that. And then if we center align both of those, I like the center alignment there. Maybe something like that. I don't know. How's that looking for folks? Any comments, concerns? It's gonna be fun to code. We have to figure that out. Did I change this to 25? No, it's the same. Okay. Here we rotate it a little bit. It's a really cheap and easy way if you have like a shape like this and you're kind of like, I just want to make it same but different. You can just rotate it, and that's the trick I've been using for years. I was like, oh, these are kind of fun shapes, but it's the same shape, just slightly tweaked and rotated. They kind of feel similar, but they're in reality they're kind of they're a little different. Let's see. I'm gonna throw that there, so that way we've kind of got the same spacing all around. Cool. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I kind of like where this direction is heading. And you know what? I think this should be all right. 20. That's good. Clip that up. We could probably have more of these. Oh, that's what's going on here. I don't have the visual spacing right. Like, this doesn't look exactly the way I think it needs to be looking. So that's like 20. That's kind of frustrating, but I think that's more about the positioning. All right. Cool. That's starting to come together. I wonder if we can make this. Yeah, that'll work. I just wanted to reset the bounding box there. Want to see where it goes. Is there any rule of thumb you are using to align text and shapes with the writing heading? I'm just kind of left aligning them. That's kind of what I was working on towards now. But not really. I'm just kind of gonna eyeball it for now. I basically want the left. This is hard because they're uneven shapes. I don't know. We're gonna play with it. We're gonna see what works visually. Because this is like not aligned, and that's gonna drive me crazy. But what I do know is that this is aligned here like that, and so that's more the alignment that I think matters to me. Maybe I can play with the sizing and stuff too. The element like that. I don't know. There's a lot of balance issues going on here, so maybe this is going to be really hard to execute. But as an idea, that one kind of worked. As an idea, I do want to play with it. I want to see where it goes. Let's see. All right, this is kind of coming together. Let's try making that like 30 pixels. Let's have more space. A little more white space. Nice. I know. It's kind of an idea, kind of a fun idea. We could just do squares. It would be a lot easier to just do squares. And then this is all has to be grouped to that. Try making that 40. So that's something to go with. I'm also, in having gone through this process here, I'm less convinced that writing is what I want to lead with. But I'm not quite sure what else I would start. Like, I could start with projects. I think that would be fine. Let's explore that. Let's think about how we might do that. So what information am I currently talking about with my portfolio projects? So we've got these little images, and we've got sort of a title of it. So I think that's pretty dope. And these kind of have little descriptions. This has little descriptions. Okay, so that's probably something I like the description. I think that's a nice way to give somebody some context before they head in. This is just a little too plain here, and that's why we're redoing this, right? Because I don't like how that looks. But let's hang on to the writing here, because I think we've done some good work here. I'm just less convinced that that's what I want to have next, and that could change how this will look. But let's grab this and bring it up. I think we had this around 150 away, something like that. So projects would be the obvious thing to call it. What are the labels? What other labels are out there? Robbie's calling them portfolios, which is good. Case studies. No label here. That's a bold move. But it's very obvious. This is a personal site. I'm wondering if we even need a label. Thank you, Sinclairus, for the follow. I really appreciate it. So this is kind of more, interesting. So he's got a whole page. It does have some information architecture about all of this. It's an interesting way to think about it. Where does this go? Yeah, this is nice. These are the case studies that you want to have out there. I'm not reading it really. I don't know if the content's good, but visually that's a lot of, like, if you're a hiring manager and you're just scanning something, you're like, wow, this looks great. Let's hire this person. I don't know. I think then the manager comes around and reads it a little bit more in detail, but these look really cool. Awesome here. So now I've got some ideas. Now I'm kind of puzzling. And so he's got them in sort of squares, which I think works. We're kind of playing with this idea of using kind of bubbly shapes. Let's try making them more of a card. Let's see where that goes. And again, like, that's the nice thing about working on your own project. You can kind of, and thinking about the content like this, you can come up with how you want to present the information. But let's try working with a card for now. Let's see where that gets us here. So what do I want to talk about? I've got, I don't know. I've got to come up with projects, but let's make this like 30. Bold, left aligned, great. And let's call this project 1 for lack of better copy. And then we'll make this like 21 regular. Does this do that? I thought there was a lorem ipsum one in here. That's way too much information. This is Craft Envision's plugin, if anyone was wondering. How much lorem ipsum can I remember? Ipsum, add, dollar, emit. That's about normally how much I can remember. Which I think works. Okay, so let's make this like 300. Cool. And let me get the spacing right. So how much? We've got 50 pixels over there. And we got about 50 there. And so that is 924. So 924, divided by 3. 308. So that's like, this has to be 308 pixels wide. And we can have 3 of them then. And I don't know if the cards are going to be like this, but it's just a way for me to have the space blocked, and I can kind of get the representation of that spacing. So I think that's probably a better way to visually think about it. Cool. Let's make that like, I don't know, let's have a little white space. 25. Alrighty there. So we gotta subtract 6. There's more math in design than I thought there was when I was signing up. I was like, and you know what, I'm actually going to have to get real lorem ipsum because that's just not doing it for me. That's the one. Where'd it go? All right. We just need about a sentence. Maybe we need less than a sentence here. All right, honestly, this should just be smaller to start. I feel like we had 18. Yeah. A little bit of consistency. I should be using textiles for this, but we're not there yet. So we're still coming up with some ideas. Exploring, as it were. Okay. So maybe we're working with something like this. Which, you know, I think is kind of we can get rid of that. Project 2. So we're rolling with some of this info, and this has a lot of details. These have more picture oriented. I like where this is as opposed to what the other version. So let's keep rolling with it. What if we go with? I was thinking like maybe we go with whatchamacall, square images here, as opposed to our fun shapes, but we can again experiment just because we're having so many issues aligning things. I don't want to have to code it, really, is what I'm trying to get away from. But if I figure that out, that would be pretty awesome. How far away are these? Seems like too much space now. And this seems too big at this point. What is that, 25? No, it should be 25. Yeah, that's feeling a lot better. It's all relative. So all we're trying to do here is to get the relative sizing, relative spacing. Most of my design day to day is how does this look relative to that? Cool. I think that's starting to work for us. This feels really small. I make this 150. Maybe something like that. And then I do want a call to action here, so some sort of learn more button. I don't know if I want a button or a link. Let's start with a link. Make it regular. Make it 18. We will add the underline just for now. We can style this later if we think we need it. More of a way for me to be like, that's functionality that I'm going to have to think about. And I'm going to add this into here. Great. And this is our card, more or less. I don't know why I labeled that one and not the other ones. And kind of a little random, but it's all good. Okay. 2. Three. All right. Oh, that's interesting. I forgot to factor that in when I was thinking about this. So let's see how that will look. It's a lot of white space, but I like it. I like especially if it's supposed to be designed like this. Nice. Okay. I like this direction a little bit better. I like where this is heading. I don't know why. Something about this 3-column layout feel and projects being the next thing we talk about just feels a little bit more the narrative I want to be talking about here. So let's group these guys up. Honestly, I don't think I grouped this either. All right, we're starting to get this page coming together, which is pretty cool. So now we think about what I want to go into next. And I do like what Justine has done with like this kind of section here. Also what she's doing with this, I want to kind of consider that as well. I wonder what that sentence would look like for me. And she's got more time at individual locations and less jobs and like positions. I've had a lot of positions. It's kind of, but now I'm in a good spot now. Hopefully, staying around for the long term at Lambda School. All right, let's play with it. This is why I made this one so long, because I knew we were gonna run out of space. Let's start talking about that career of mine. Let's make this big. Let's make it 50. Maybe 6. How big is this? 60? Let's use another H1 on the page. Alrighty. I think we've got about 150 pixels in between them. That doesn't work as well. Here. And honestly, let's make this more like 40, which I think is how big that one is. Yeah. What do I want to say? So normally when I'm thinking about what do I tell people in my personal narrative, and one thing that I like to stress. So I have worked in a lot of different industries and a lot of different size companies, mostly startups, but of varying sizes. And so that's something I like to stress, is how my breadth of experience has exposed me to a lot of different environments, and how do you operate effectively within those environments. So you're always trying to spin it. It's not that you jumped around; it's that you had a breadth of experience, and you know how many different environments work. Right? You always got to spin. So that's kind of the spin that I've been taking when I explain my job experience. I'm wondering if that is what I want to call attention to here. The other thing that's kind of interesting, that might be too abstract. I was thinking about if you could just like have random quotes in here, quotes about yourself. Not about yourself, but like personal quotes that you like. Like I always like the Theodore Roosevelt's "Man in the Arena" speech. I was wondering if you could throw that in here. I just don't know if that's too abstract or not, or not. I don't know. But again, that might be too abstract. So let's talk about this. I have. Kermit likes it. No, let's play with that. Let me go pull up the Man in the Arena speech and see what quote I want. Not in the High Castle. Like, it's not the critic who counts. It'll be kind of fun. I think folks mostly know it's not the critic who counts. I don't know if I want to say that and then run right into my job descriptions, though. That's kind of like, I don't know if that's the messaging I want to be sending. Let's see here. Oh, thank you. I don't know how to say that, but Resin Vinix for the follow. Appreciate it. Y'all, some of these handles I just don't know. But I appreciate it. Thank you. So let's see. I don't know. That's an idea. Maybe there's a different one. Maybe there's a design quote. There are tons of design quotes out there. Oh, not quite. Writing today. Design quotes. Envision. Awesome. Love the Envision blog. They actually did a nice job on their redesign. Let's see here. That's very true. Wow, these are great quotes. I wonder if there's a career quote. It would be kind of ironic if you put this quote in, because I don't know if it's essential to making a point. I don't know. That'd be kind of funny. That'd be very subtle, though. Very true. These are nice quotes, but I don't know if these are exactly what I want to be doing. All right, what does Justine say? I have 4 years experience working with startups and freelance projects. I don't know if I want to put a number on my years of experience. I have to think. What year is it? Yeah, I'd probably be in the same. Am I coming up on 5 years? Gosh, things are. And it depends on where I want to start counting from. Really, if I count some of the more entrepreneurial things I've been doing, it's a lot of years. But work experience, though, 4 or 5 years, depending on where you're. I guess be closer to 5 now. How old am I? I forget. Sometimes I wake up at night in like a cold sweat because I forgot how old I was or am. I'm still around. That could just be a me problem, though, which is all good. All right. I like what's going on here. And I like the call to action about the about me. Maybe. All right. Maybe this is So I want to keep the about me to like the end, because I just think that's more of like the style. But I was like, maybe this would be a cool spot to drop that. Let's try. I don't know. I'm probably overthinking this, which is a problem. Let's look at some of the stuff that we talked about earlier. Maybe, honestly, taking this. So I know we have it in the first section, but like repetition is such a great device for driving home points. So let's kind of roll with it. Let's repeat this. That's not what I want. Wait, yeah, there we go. I think people like undervalue repetition. They're like, oh, you're repeating yourself, but I think it's such a great tool for communicating ideas. So let's. And then I can go into my job experience. So what am I saying right now about my job experience, my job history? Go to the career page. Yes, I want to keep those graphics, but somewhere else. Alrighty. So we've got sort of this logo thing going on, which honestly is a kind of a pain to keep all of these logos. And some of them, like, I couldn't even get the logo for. So I've got the time, which I think is important, the title, also important, and the location. I don't know if that's as important as it used to be. I've got more of a, I don't know if I need this anymore. And how is Justine presenting herself? Company, time, I think that's all I need. I feel like I used to like be all in and have a lot of content, but I don't know if I need that as much anymore. I was thinking it would be cool with my careers thing to do like a timeline, like more of like a, like there's a line that's got all the dates on it and then I could have my career on it, but at the same time, I think this will work as well. So, and like I said, I've got, what, how many here? We've got 9, 10, plus my current job, which I don't have on here. So I've got 11 positions that I can highlight, conceivably. Though I don't know if I need my internships anymore. And I really don't need to talk about being an analyst anymore. So I probably only have 7 jobs that I really want to talk about. So these are the things to consider. So let's do that. And so now I guess my question is, do I want to highlight my job title first, or do I want to highlight the company first? I'm going to go with company just because, I don't know, I think people, especially now that I'm working at Lambda School, I kind of want to highlight that I'm working there, just because I think it resonates with people. So let's go with that. Honestly, I want to copy 25 bold. Cool. So let's make that 40 because I think that's the space we have between here and there. Trying to be a little consistent. All right, so what do we? Let's say Lambda School. Awesome. Everyone should go. If you're not there, sign up. It's the best. So 12, and then we'll make it regular, and maybe we'll make it. Yeah, let's just make it regular. What am I? I'm a UX instructor. That is my title. So 21. And I've been working there since August. I actually want to put these in italics. Say call it oblique. So we're going to call that August 2018 to present. I think that's how long I've been there. I should double check that. So, yeah, that's right. Yes. We're going to make this like 16 pixels because it can be kind of small. And well, we made this really tight. I'm not opposed to that. I think a little more white space will do us good. Where are you? 21, 18. Let's try that. Oh boy. It gets into a lot of like theory, like do I present the place first, or do I present my title first? And you could probably have some very good debates on this. Let's actually make this even smaller than it is now. It might be too small. I'm interested to see how this will look on a website. Because that will be informative. So we'll group that. I'm actually going to try and do groups of 5 here. I'm sorry, not 5. That's too much. 4. Just kind of loosely distributing those. Distribute unevenly. That's fine. I get it. Sometimes with this stuff, like I know it's not perfect. I know I can get it perfect in code, and so if it's a pixel off, I'm not too worried. I also don't know what the different school. The different whatchamacalls. Content is going to be the size of content. So let's call this launch shop. founder. November 2015 to present. Aptitude media was May 2017 to May 2018. Software engineer. Oh, I think this is coming together kind of nice. What do y'all think? Am I going in the right direction? Is this terrible? Is this good? Let's see here. Metric loop. I'm forgetting metric loop. Lead UI UX engineer. February 2016. Gotta use the real content. That's what really, that's how you get the spacing right. That's how you get the feel right. If you're just doing this with all, like a little lorem ipsum, like it's okay. I understand if you just don't have the content, but if you have the content, use it because it makes everything so much better. Because like, look, like we had everything like really aligned before, and now we put the content in there and it's not aligned. And so we have to think through that. What are we going to do here? And so there are a couple of different approaches to this. So I know this is 924 divided by 4 is 231. Okay, it's 231. There we go. And we'll figure that out in a second here. Alrighty. There we go. So now I can start working on this a little better. So I want this to be like there almost. That would more or less be what I'm looking for. Dope, 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 dope. This is coming together pretty nicely. And it's not even, but like it's still on a grid, so to speak. So that's when you're playing with content like this, you got to make those kind of choices. Okay. So we had metric loop, ISA. Bear with me here. I'm just going to keep putting in the. So I could do I mean, this is just their full title is enormous, so I'm just going to say ISA. People can look it up if they want to, or talk to me about it, hopefully. Front-end developer. And that was February 2015 to 2016. Ooh, memory lane here. So many good people out there, so many people I've worked with. Lexseed. And that's, so I was technically a business developer. I'm going to focus on UI UX specialist for this. I don't know if that's disingenuous or not, but that in my resume it will say that. I could say AMBD. I guess that's why I should have set the width on these. Yeah, let's leave that in there and see how it rolls. Honestly, I don't know if I should even include this stuff anymore. I guess so. So that's 2014 to 2015. There's an argument to be made for keeping, I don't know, the like less relevant jobs off of your resume, but this is not a resume. That's why I'm torn. This is more of a catalog all the work I've done. Ugh. I actually think I'm gonna stop there. So that kind of worked for us. But that'll wrap. These are the things. UI designer and biz dev. And that was the same. That was May to Feb. Working 2 jobs at the same time. Not recommended. All right, so that's more or less where this is kind of heading. Obviously, there's more I can do here to make this look good. Now, Justine has a call to action here, which I think is smart, and I want to include a call to action. I don't know if I want to do it to my About Me or my like LinkedIn or my resume. I kind of am leaning towards resume here. Let's see. Let's say see resume. View resume. And we're going to make you regular. Make it a little larger here. Kind of something in line. That's 18. Maybe make this 18. Nice. Make it like that. Throw a rectangle around it. More or less. We'll figure it out. So to get rid of the fill, I'm actually going to make this the same. Okay. That looks about right. Take the width down. And we'll bump the height by 5. Now, if you didn't know that, you can do math on these boxes, and that always saves my life. Because sometimes I just don't want to do it in my head. Okay. So these can all be grouped. I'm actually going to bring these down. Now, looking at this from like, and this is like the nice thing about Sketch and stuff, because you can be like working here and everything's looking good, and then you zoom out and you're like, I don't know if this is working the way I wanted it to. For instance, like I think these are just a little too close to that, so maybe, and I don't know, a 3 or 4 on a line makes sense, but let's keep rolling with this for now because I just don't want to deal with it just yet. But when you can get a chance to, sometimes just take a minute, zoom out, kind of get a feel for how the page is coming together, see if it's working or not. Those are good things to start considering. I'm going to make that a little bit more white space. How much white space do you have? Is that working for you? I'm going to make that about half, and then this can be 62. Actually, I want that closer. The thing that I think that's throwing me off is that this is so close. So I'm just going to get rid of some of this for now and consider it a little bit more. See, like content really impacts your design. Like that's such a good example of how this little bit just like throws this grid that we kind of put together totally out of whack. And so you can either adjust the content or you have to figure out a new way to design it. So that's why I like to design with my content. And and like look, and zooming out here, there's a lot of white space between these and less between this. And so now I'm kind of thinking, do I make this smaller? Do I make this bigger? I'm going to try making this bigger. Yeah, there it is. That feels more balanced. Cool. So the view resume is center aligned, which I think is fine. But a lot of my alignment is left aligned. I wonder if it'll look better over here. It's kind of nice because it kind of is a subtle triangle, and now we can balance it on the other side. So let's roll with that for a minute and see how we're doing here. I hope y'all are. I hope this is interesting for everybody. It's kind of me just going through the process here and trying to narrate as much as possible what I'm thinking as I go through it. But yeah, we kind of look how far we've come. We started over here, right? We just started with some content and kind of went through a few ideas. Now we're playing with the other content, and this is starting to turn out, I think, pretty nice. I'm actually really excited the direction this is heading in. We've got our projects already. We've got the career section done. And now we can start thinking about that content again, the kind of the stuff we were talking about earlier. Maybe, right, so this is, I was talking about having the latest thoughts, kind of like how I had it before, where everything was more right aligned. And now that we've balanced everything over to the left-hand side with that triangle kind of shape, that subtle triangle within here, maybe we can start thinking about how do we bring some more information back over here, or bring it back over here a little bit more. So that's a thought. The other thing that I was thinking about was like, I love what Justine has done with her parallax images here. I don't know if I necessarily want to copy that, but I do. And I always love when like you overlay something on top of an image like that, like really creatively. That's kind of what I was trying to get at, like down here a little bit, because people always, they don't layer as much as they should. I think you can make really interesting designs with that. Like this, overlapping that, it's subtle, but you can, the white background versus the slightly purple background. So I think there's just so much you can do and have fun with, and having shadows and everything. So yeah, so these are kind of things that I'm wondering, how can we incorporate some of that magic into this? And maybe, I didn't think about this, but maybe it's about having a subtle background here. What if we made it like, maybe, I kind of liked where we were going with the white. Kind of cool. It'd be, I wonder if we could get rid of that almost, if that's too distracting or not. I almost want to like bring this out like that or something. I don't know if that's the route I want to go. But you know, think about things like that. How can you layer things and make, that's kind of like getting into like Gestalt principles and how you can bring contrast to elements, and by subtly grouping elements, kind of having a background that's like figure ground at work. You can really bring elements together in a way that you might not have been able to some other way. So things to think about. Things to think about. Let's see here. Okay, let's keep on rolling. So let's bring writing up. I do think one, like breaking this up a little bit more would be nice. I don't want to copy Justine's whole website though. While I'm at it, I don't think we are, but I think we are borrowing a lot of inspiration. I don't want to take her parallax thing. I'm gonna look at my Launch Shop website. Sometimes I get inspiration from work I've done in the past. And I remembered I did some parallax here. I just kind of have it in the page, though. It's not. Like it'd be cool to overlay that. How can we help on top? That would have been good thinking. That's a shot from Austin, which is where we were based. So kind of a good way to tie into the local community that we're operating in. Oh, the problem is I don't know if I have good photos of myself like this. I don't think I do at all. So, but what if we play with that idea? What if we have some sort of either image or just background. Something kind of subtle. I'm not sure what it is yet, but it could be something. Then we kind of have, I don't know, something like this. 100 pixels, so plus 49. Nice. No border. this 400. Nice. Guess we'll bring that up. A couple of ways to do that, but something like this. So let me just break the page up a little bit more. Got a lot going on here. Yeah, let's try 80. Group all that together. Had a layer in there that I wasn't using. And I don't know. I'm actually going to get rid of these for now. And I wonder if... okay, so let's play with this. So we're using this concept of like swoops and more of a more curved kind of design. So let's see if we can... I'm going to put this up. Ah, now we're talking. I'm going to bring this down. It's not perfect, but it's okay. Maybe bring this guy up. Ooh, I like where this is going. That's not what I wanted. We're just playing, we're remixing, we're playing with the ideas that we've been working with this whole time here. We've kind of, I don't know why that keeps happening, but we're playing with these concepts of shapes. And curves. This is, again, like how do we take something that we're kind of working with and something that somebody else has done, take the inspiration, not the full idea, and do it on our own. Alrighty, how's this looking? Something weird going on over here, but we can fix that. And again, I'm not the best with the pen tool, but I'll play for now. I'll get rid of that. No, that's not what I wanted. I don't know, something like this. And then maybe we bring this up even higher. I don't know, something like this. I think this is, it might be like too much of a curve, but we can tweak that really fast. It's an idea. We can obviously when we do the high fidelity stuff, we'll tweak that and make it a little cleaner. Let's see here. Yeah, like 30. I like where this is heading. What tools do I use? So this is currently Sketch. I don't know what do you mean by tools? So this is just Sketch. I don't think I'm going to throw it in Vision. I don't think I have to, but this is all I'm using. In terms of coding, I'm going to do this in Vue.js, Laravel, Tailwind CSS. That's the current plan. So I hope that answers what you were what you were looking for. That looks a little better. It's bugging me that it's like that flat. That makes sense. But that's kind of what you need it to be. Yeah, that might work. All right. Getting closer, getting closer. Cool. And this would be our writing section. Maybe we have more posts, less posts. I wonder if we can, so this is kind of on a flat bottom, but I don't know, maybe we can play with like a shape down here. How crazy can we make this? I don't know what I'm doing here, but that's pretty cool, actually. Turned out cooler than I thought it would be on accident. I know, cool to me. It's very subjective here. I don't know, something like that. It's a little bit more of a little more visual interest. And we layering it. That's again something I like. Yeah, cresting waves, that background. Yeah, that's true. Kind of does have that wave feel, and that plays nice with my color palette too, which hopefully that'll be pretty interesting. That's what we're going for here, visual interest, right? Nice. I like where this is heading. And I like how this is connecting back to that. I'm actually going to change the color on this because I want it to be a little more consistent. Not that dark, but oh, there we go. You don't have to do this for your wireframes. I'm just doing it because I enjoy consistency like that. Cool. Cool, cool. This is starting to look pretty darn good here. I don't know. I'm a little biased. I think the user tests will be the interesting part of this if other people think it looks good. But I'm liking this direction. I'm enjoying where we're heading with this. What do you guys think? How are we doing here? Is this starting to look pretty good? Alrighty. And then I'm gonna have another call to action here. I don't know why that's like that. Oh, what am I moving here? Moving the wrong thing. Alrighty. We're going to center align this. I think this can be center aligned just because it's adding a little more contrast to the page, and that is about 30 pixels. Be good if I got this working the way I want it to. All right, 50, and so this can be that's frustrating. I wonder why that's not. Oh, that's why. I thought those were. Strange. Very peculiar. Anyway, it doesn't matter because the text isn't that long. And we're going to do that. I'm going to bump this down to 20. Make that 30. No, I'll make it 40. And then we'll make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That can be 42, and then I think this is 30 in between all of these pieces. Yeah, that's looking pretty good to me. And then almost feels like we need to move this whole thing up. I actually don't love that spacing. So again, zooming out, zooming in, kind of getting the perspective. Something with, when I was doing my Studio Arts minor, we always had to take a moment, and when I was doing that painting, for instance, like you can get really into the details, and you could just miss the bigger picture. So sometimes you just have to get up, step away from your painting, take a few steps back, and just get a feel for what it looks like, what's going on the page. So that is something I try to do when I can. And this doesn't matter. That can be about that big. Nice. I think this is pretty cool. I kind of like the juxtaposition of like order, which is the square, on top of the organic shape, which is the curvy wave kind of shape we got going in the background. It's subtle, but it's almost like this message of like in the background there can be things are organic and dynamic and moving, and that's okay. But then the writing or whatever it is I'm putting on top of it, I can add structure to that. I can organize it. And I don't know, I'm probably overthinking this, but that's what designers like to do. We can add structure to things like this. So I think that's kind of cool. Cool idea. And I'm actually going to round these. 5? Yeah. Again, kind of playing with curved shapes versus playing with hard edges. I like the hard edges on this guy though. Actually, I don't know. Let's try. This is our time to experiment. So let's say, what if that's 5 pixels? Ooh, I kind of like that. 5 might be too much, but let's roll with that for now. We'll just roll with it. Cool. Read more. I think that's fine. And there's a great debate, in my head at least, that if you want to resize them every time or just leave them kind of the same. I like to resize them though. My buttons. Get the padding right, because that's how it's going to look on the web. I don't know if that's a debate or not. I kind of made that sound like it was more of a thing than it is. Cool, so we've done writing. All right, so let's talk about what we've got here so far. So we've kind of got all these 3 guys done. We've got the blog stuff taken care of. Excuse me. And then we've got Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, which is going to be interesting. And something I kind of liked that idea of having them side by side, but like that. But and then another thing that I was kind of considering is, I don't know if you all saw this on Twitter or not, but I was kind of talking about whatchamacall, going for more of a. I'm sorry. Let me think here. I was talking on Twitter about starting a Discord server for everybody on the stream, so we can kind of during the week and whenever talk about design and our portfolios, and we can get feedback and share ideas. So I'm going to probably go ahead and do that. But I was wondering if I at this point need to start making a single page website or like a landing page just for our community here that's growing, and I think would be awesome to kind of have. And that way so other people can come and join the Discord and stuff like that. So I was wondering if I make that part of my personal website or if I make that an entirely separate website. And I'm leaning towards making it part of my personal site here, but that is just something I'm considering. So if I was going to go that route, like this Twitch stream thing, might be something more that I want to add to like the landing page, so that way people can find it and go to it, and then we can have our own page on my site. And the other thing I can do is I can make a URL and just have it point to that, or domain, and just make a point to this page on our website. So I don't know, thoughts I'm having. That was a big ramble, but basically it comes down to how I want to present this Twitch content on my on this landing page and elsewhere. So what I'm thinking of doing is maybe adding a section below writing that's kind of like community, or my community, or teaching. I kind of like community because I like that connotation and the messaging there. I want to write that down. There we go. That always annoys me when that happens. I gotta change it before I start writing. This is kind of becoming a text style, so I'm gonna make this not HAT. Oh, that's annoying. H2. That's more of a CSS way to talk about it, but I mean HTML code way to talk about it. What am I saying? Today is a long day. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours, so we're coming up to our 2 hour limit here. We've used the style a lot, so I'm going to make a text style. Cool. And maybe we make this center aligned. So we have everything kind of left aligned here for the most part, but then this read more is center aligned. And so maybe to continue that, we'll continue with the center alignment as well. You know, a little consistency, a little, you have to think about like how people's eye is going down the page. So you kind of have them going, they hit the read more. You can have them jump back over, or you've already made them jump to the middle. So why don't just continue that eye pattern so they don't have to jump as far. I don't know, it could be overthinking it, but the things I consider when I'm putting together, like composing the rest of this as well. So this is, again, kind of all things to consider. And I keep looking at this because I keep trying to like, what's the overall pattern and flow of this as a whole? So it's kind of like, I know there's like the F pattern, there's a Z pattern. This is kind of feeling fairly F pattern-ish because it's like content on the left and then over, and then we kind of get to this middle section where we're almost changing up the whole flow. But it's nice that's what makes it interesting. It's those differences and that contrast. That's what makes something visually interesting. And so I'm thinking, do we continue with that new paradigm, or do we kind of go back to the old one we were working with? These are just kind of the questions I'm having. I'm actually going to take this off the page now, move it over here. It's another part of our thought process. So maybe not. And the other thing we've done is we've changed the grid. So before the grid was really big, and now this is a much tighter grid. And I'm actually going to add some grid lines here, so you can see them. And that could just be what we play with too. We could play with, and honestly, we'd have to use this grid in here more or less. If we want to keep playing with that, so that's another option. We can go with this tighter, more streamlined grid for more of this content. And that's, I think, something that our friends are doing. So let's see. Always good to take a look. Yeah. So she's just got multiple sections of this. So she's got just two, right? And she has stories and lessons and tech events. And I think that's great. And we've got writing and side projects and other projects here. And Robbie's got portfolio, illustrations, and resume. And then I'm kind of all over the place because I've got the writing, so we've kind of got that in there, and then I've got like YouTube and Twitch, and Twitter left. Twitter, I'm thinking of just having in the footer, kind of doing something similar to how Charlie is doing his. I think that's interesting. Like, I love this footer. I think it's a really great design, and I might borrow heavily from this. Don't necessarily need this in here anymore, but this is something that I think is pretty cool and a nice presentation of this information. So that's something I'm considering. So really, it's just this Twitch section that I'm thinking about. And then the about, like my about section as well. Which is also kind of interesting. So kind of sketching this out. About, and then footer, more or less. And that is our 2-hour mark there. That's kind of why I'm sketching this out. I don't think I'm gonna take a little break here. 2 hours of just straight design is great, and sometimes you need to get in that zone, but I need to go eat some lunch and and have some water and all that good stuff, and I think you guys do too. So I don't want to overwhelm us by any stretch, but I think we've made some tremendous progress here. This is actually looking really, really nice. I love the direction we're going here. I think it really has been awesome kind of building this with everybody and going through the process here. But so that's kind of what next time I think we're going to start focusing on. What's this community Twitch section going to look like? What's the about section going to look like? And then this footer section as well. I'm not quite sure how it's all going to look, but we'll sit on it for a week, and that'll be that. So thank you again for sticking with me here on your Saturday morning. I think it's been a lot of fun kind of designing this. Like I said, I'm putting together a Discord. I've got to set it up right. So stay tuned on Twitter for that, and then we can talk during the week, and we can have conversations, and you all can get feedback from each other and from me about your portfolio or anything else you're working on. And I kind of want it to be a kind of fun community where we can talk about UX, we can talk about design, we can talk about code. If you have code questions, I'm happy to talk about that. So it's just kind of be sort of a polyglot community where we'll talk about all sorts of things. And we'll also talk about the stream and everything else if you guys have more things you want to talk about. But great. And so this will be up on YouTube pretty shortly. And on Wednesday evening, we'll probably, if more people have portfolios they want reviewed, we'll do that.